A wolf's howling can differ in pitch and frequency based on a number of variables such as the wolf's age, gender, and emotional condition. A wolf howl typically encompasses a frequency spectrum of approximately 300 Hz to 3000 Hz or higher. This indicates that it is capable of containing both low-frequency components, often referred to as bass, and high-frequency components, referred to as treble. The main range of frequencies that a wolf howls at are usually between 300 and 600 Hz. Wolves use this range to accomplish communication and establish their territory by imparting the howl with a mesmerizing and eerie quality that can travel great distances. It is important to remember that different wolf species may howl at different frequencies. For instance, gray wolves may have somewhat varied howl frequencies than other species such as eastern or red wolves. The harmonics of a wolf's howl play an important part in wolf communication.
This is the Sundeep Show.
Long-range sound propagation is one of the main purposes of harmonics in wolf howls. The howl becomes more complicated and has a greater range before dying out when harmonics are added. Effective communication is of the utmost importance for wolves to engage in with their pack members or with neighboring packs. The distinguishing characteristic of the howl lies in its harmonic complexity, which sets it apart from ambient sounds like wind and other environmental disturbances. Now, we get to the second part. Every wolf has its own distinctive vocal signature, and the harmonics in their howl have the potential to convey information about the wolf's individuality. This facilitates interpack member recognition, even when physically separated. A wolf's howl's characteristic harmonic structure can indicate who's calling, which is especially crucial for organizing group activities and sustaining social links within the pack. Wolves use harmonics as a form of communication. They express emotion through howling. Howling is a motivating sound. Wolves are able to transmit their feelings and intentions through subtle shifts in the harmonics of their howls. For instance, a higher-pitched howl with stronger harmonies might mean that the wolf is excited or upset, while a softer, lower-pitched howl might mean that the wolf is happy or calm. This lets wolves let other members of their pack know how they're feeling and what they plan to do. Wolves communicate territory claims by howling. They mark boundaries and territory with howling. Howling is a vital part of the territory establishment and protection process for wolves. The utilization of harmonics in howls serves to delineate the limits of their domain and communicate to neighboring packs their presence within a specific region. Potential invaders may be discouraged by the howling pack's strength and size, which can be communicated through the howl's complexity and harmonic content. Numerous variables such as the topography, the climate, and the howling patterns of the wolves themselves can affect how far away wolves can be heard howling. Wolf howls have been recorded being heard from as far as 6 miles away, but this distance can vary greatly depending on environmental factors. The terrain can have a considerable impact on the range over which a wolf's howl can be heard. The geography and vegetation of an area are two factors that contribute to this.
You're listening to the Sundeep Show.
In contrast to heavily wooded or mountainous regions, sound tends to travel farther in broad, level terrain. The weather is an important factor. It's easier for sound to move through cold, dry air than through warm, wet air. Nights that are quiet and clear are best for transmitting sound. Individual wolves can differ in the intensity and volume of their howl, and the size of the wolf pack can have an impact on how far the howl can be heard. It is possible that larger packs will emit a more substantial chorus of howls which will be audible from further away. Wolves have a wide variety of howls they employ to communicate. Certain howls serve a primary purpose of facilitating communication among pack members at close range, whereas others have the potential to traverse greater distances and communicate with distant pack members or even alert other wolf packs to avoid their territory. Wolf howls may be difficult to hear in areas where there is a lot of human activity, such as roads, factories, or cities. Wolf howling may not travel as far in regions with significant human activity. It is essential to keep in mind that even while the howl of a wolf can travel across a distance of several miles under the correct conditions, this does not always guarantee that humans can hear them at this distance. Because of our inferior hearing compared to other animals, we likely won't be able to hear a wolf howling from far away. The volume of a wolf's howl is not always proportional to its size. Wolves howl in order to communicate with one another, and the volume of the howl is determined less by the size of the individual wolf than by the distance the howl must travel in order to reach its target audience. Wolf howls have been recorded being heard over distances of up to 130 kilometers or 50 square miles. That is crazy. Consequently, just because the larger wolf may have a deeper or louder howl as a result of physical traits like the size of its vocal cords, does not always translate into a longer howl. The range over which a howl can be heard depends not only on the distance between the howler and the listener, but also on environmental and weather circumstances. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Sundeep August. This is the Sundeep August Show. In case you were wondering, the northwestern wolf, also known as the Mackenzie Valley wolf or the Canadian timber wolf, is the species of wolf that is considered to be the largest in the world. In comparison to European wolves, these wolves exhibit a greater emphasis on the initial syllable and a harsher vocalization.
This is the Sundeep Show.